Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to use the Keylight tool in After Effects and how to integrate some green screen or blue screen footage into a simple background. Just get started. I'm going to import my footage. That's for sure. So as you can see, the key that I am using is just some fabric I threw up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to key the blue out and put a background, which I'm going to import here. I'm going to file import. So I got the stock footage. Actually, it's a stock photo of an alleyway. So I imported that, file import, or just file import here. So I got my two files, and I dragged my footage in here, and it's automatically going to create a composition here. Sorry, I went a little fast there. So it's set up here already at 1920 by 1080. It's 30 frames a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the composition actually to 24 frames a second, just because I like it. But the great thing about it too is you can actually slow down me a little bit now. So I'm going to click now on this in the project. My project's this file is still 29.97. So 30 frames a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click. I'm going to interpret the footage. Just going to slow it down a little bit to make it's still going to be really smooth, but it's slightly slower movements. I'm just going to conform to frame rate. Click on this. And instead of 29.97, I'm going to click 24 to match our project, or our composition, sorry. Press OK. So that will actually slow it down and actually make our composition a little bit longer. I'm not going to bother with it right now. It's 10 seconds long. I'm just going to keep it at 10 seconds. But if you play this back in full speed, you can actually see it's a little bit slower. So I got even more of a zombie kind of waddle going on here. I am going to be using Keylight. See how that works. So I'm just going to click over here on the effects, or you can go Effect up at the top here. Effect, Keying, Keylight 1.2. I believe there's newer Keylights. I'm using actually After Effects 5.5 here. So what I'm going to do, my first thing is I'm going to click this. I'm going to click this tool here. This is your screen color. This is where you're trying to get this blue out of here. What's going to happen here for sure is these little dots here on my neck are going to disappear as well. So they're going to have little holes there. I'm not going to ignore that for now. So I'm going to click just somewhere around here. You want it to be kind of somewhat close to your subject. You don't want it to be way out here sometimes, because that can be a lot darker than you're trying to focus the closest to your subject as possible. So I'm going to just click here, and that's already looks okay, just as is. Actually, it's quite surprising. Actually, I was expecting a lot worse. My eyes are very blue here too. So those might have, it doesn't look like it's coming out right now. As you can see closer up here, it still looks okay. So what we're going to do here is just going to change some of these settings here in Keylight just to make it a little bit better. But it actually isn't that bad. I'm going to change the screen gain. And this is all just tweaking, again, like just getting what you like out of it. You can actually go here and go to View instead of Final Result. You can go to Screen Matte, which I like. And you can see a black and white of what the black is what's getting keyed out, and the white is what's staying. And then you can see here around my eyes and stuff, and my mouth, a little bit of blood down here, and definitely those neck. Those are still not being keyed out, or they are being keyed out, so you want to kind of bring those back. So you can actually just tweak this stuff, bring back the eyes a little bit more, maybe not too much, somewhere there. You can do a pre-blur. I'm just going to keep that. Go click down on the screen mat thing here and tweak these, clip black and clip whites. Again, this is just tweaking. There's no like set formula. I find that people want that like template, but it's all about tweaking. It's all about what you like, what you're trying to achieve with the shot. Simple as that. So this isn't too bad, actually. I'm actually surprised how well this is working. So let's go back to the final result here on the view in Keylight. It's looking okay. I think it's killing a little bit of color out of me. Well, maybe not. I think the eyes are just changing ever so slightly. But that's fine. The problem up here is I'm not worried about this, my wall here. But what you can do is simply just mask around this. You can actually mask. Sometimes you don't worry about corners of you don't need your key to be perfect everywhere. That's also one trick that people seem to not kind of bypass is you just want your subject to be great. If there's a little bit of stuff in the corner here, a little bit of fuzzies or whatever, part of your screen that's not keying out properly, just mask it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to mask a general shape around where I'm going to be moving. And now it's all, you don't have to worry about that because it's never going to be in your shot. So it's already looking okay. So if you go back, that mask there, I went to the polygonal tool up here, pen tool, created a mask around that. I hope I didn't do that too quick, but it's pretty straightforward and basic. You just don't want to obviously if you go like that, he's gonna have a big cut in his face. So that doesn't make any sense. So just keep it like that. And it's already looking okay. Let's get to the point here. So now your key is looking, I'm actually very impressed. We'll see on black, obviously it looks really good because it's black. There's not much detail there. So we're going to drag in this background image that I downloaded. I'll put the link to the photographer in the description. I dragged it into the composition here. And instead of the top here, I'm just going to bring it to the bottom. That's obviously, you have your subject in front. Below that, you want the background. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these objects, me as a zombie, and the background into 3D layers. I'm just going to click this box. So now we're going to create kind of a pseudo camera move with these two images to make it look like they're integrated together. The key with Greenscreen is not necessarily just your key and how you use blue or green on your key. It's your integration with the background or other elements in your shot, if that makes any sense. You really want to match colors and stuff. So I'm going to go into that, but first we'll just work out how the camera is going to work here. So what I'm going to do, I've created these into 3D objects. So I'm going to go to the top view. We're at the top here. We're viewing the top. So this is me. This is the zombie. So I'm going to push him out a little bit. Going to have him towards the camera. And then the background, I'm just going to push back a little bit. Just have a little bit of separation there in the 3D space or 2.5D space, whatever you want to call it. Going to go back to the active camera right here. So now we have me ahead and the background. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to right click and add a camera, new camera, or layer new camera. I'm going to click, this doesn't, I'm going to do a 50mm preset here, click on that, press OK. And I'm going to enable the depth of field here on the settings here. You can enable depth of field. I want to have a really cool depth of field look to this shot. So I'm going to click that. I'm just going to keep those there and press OK. So now we have a camera there. And we're simply going to make a little camera move. It's not going to be huge. So I'm going to push down on the transform little triangle here. Click all the keyframes. Again, this is the way I do it. So so what we're going to do is just switch around these cameras. You can actually go into the top view and you can actually see your camera here. That's your camera and these are your subjects. But I like actually just editing in this view. So I'm going to move around. And I'm going to push in. I'm going to start there. And then I'm going to go right at the end of the shot. And then I'm going to push out the camera. And I'm going to select both these, and I'm going to, I like going to keyframe assistant, select all the keyframes here, right click, go to keyframe assistant, and I like ease because it kind of like nice and eases it into the final keyframe. So now we have, just going to make this play back a little bit better. We have this slight camera move back. I'm just going to lower me a bit here. And I'm actually going to, because you can do whatever you want, I'm going to actually stretch me out. And I'm going to make myself a little bit longer looking. Just because. No, there's no real reason. Just because I want to. There, I just stretched myself out a little bit. And I'm actually going to reframe. I'm going to click on me and I'm going to reframe it as well. I'm going to have me a little bit more to the side. There. That's one slow moving zombie. But you get the idea. I'm actually just going to lower it a little bit just to keep my shoulders in there. There. Maybe it's a little too to the side right there. There, I'm liking this already. I hope you're following along here. We have our shot kind of already sort of worked out. The problem, we have a problem here with the background. So I'm going to just stretch this out. I'm going to the last part of the shot. I'm just going to stretch this out. And again, I'm a little too high there. So I filled up the background just by stretching it, just by clicking, and then you just drag along these things here. Do whatever you want. The key is that you're not changing where this background is on the 3D space. You're just scaling it. That's all you're doing. You can do it that way, or you can also go into transform and scale it that way. I'm just going to do that. I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger and a little bit lower, just so it kind of lines up with the background a little bit more. Or lines up with my zombie, because it looks like he's a little short. That's looking a lot better. Okay, so now we have sort of a shot going, but the problem is, like, it doesn't look real, right? That's obvious. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the colors of me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply drag in a color curve. So I'm going to go to effects. I'm going to color correction and go curves, or you can just type in curves. I'm just going to drag that effect into zombie.j.mauve here. That's me. And I'm going to change the colors and get a cool look here. So I'm first just gonna make it a lot darker. This is just general RGB here. This will affect all the color. I'm going to take away the highlights a bit. Maybe it's a little dark. Maybe there. Then I'm going to go to the red channel, and I'm going to just tweak this. Maybe a little bit more sickly looking. Take out the red. Then I'm going to green. Maybe add a little more green. And then I'm going to go to blue. Do the same thing here. Crank up the blue a bit. Maybe change the, yeah, something like that. I don't know, it's looking kind of cool. The problem here, though, is you can see is the background is really sharp, and my face is actually a little bit out of focus. That's just because of the low quality of the camera I was using at the time. But we can fix that. But before that, we're going to do a very key thing here. We are going to match the color now of what I just created there with my face. And we're going to make the background like with the same color look. And it's a bit of an art, but it's once if you nail it, it looks really good. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to drop in curves into this background. I should name this. Let's put this background. I press enter and changed the layer name to background. So what we're going to do is, again, we're probably going to make it a little bit darker. So I'm going to turn this down a bit. And then I'm going to go to red channel. I'm going to turn down the red because that's what we did. And again, this is just this tweaking. This is just kind of, you're trying to get what you like. I turn the red down a little bit. I'm going to turn down, I realize I say gonna. I'm going to. That's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to do, I did it again. It's Canadian accent coming out. Turn that down, the green. And then I'm going to go to blue. I'm actually going to heighten the blue because we did that on the original shot. And again, we're just kind of eyeballing this. There's techniques you can do to kind of get a even more realistic match of this. But I'm actually satisfied with that. I don't think that looks too bad. It might be a little dark, but that's, you know, it's a zombie shot, right? Now what we could do is we could add a light into this. I'm gonna go to layer, new light. I'm gonna make a kind of a bluish light coming in. And this is gonna again be on like the 2.5D space. So I just plugged that in. I just automatically loaded it in there. And I'm just gonna change where this is gonna shoot from. Maybe go into the settings here. I'm gonna make it a little bit more intense and a little bit more scope to it, a little more radius. Turn down the intensity and maybe even bring it up. Again, this is all just tweaking, doing what you like. So I just put it up by sort of this side wall here. I think that's looking kind of cool. It's getting there. a couple things you could do. Because this still image, unfortunately, is a still image, and this, my zombie is obviously motion captured, like it's video. You're going to have this natural grain to my face, or noise from the footage. So, but the background is just going to look like a still image. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little grain. I just typed in grain here, or add grain under noise and grain in the effects. I'm going to drag that again back into the background. I'm going to set, there's a couple presets here. I'm just going to click the first one. I'm going to go back to full to see what the heck I'm doing. And it already has a little bit of grain. You can see it. And you want to match the grain if you can. So I'm going to change the size of the grain. As you can see, let's go to, instead of preview, let's go final output. It's a little big. I didn't realize how big I was making the grain here. That's not bad. Let's use that. And what I'm going to do too is I'm going to right click, add a new adjustment layer to the whole thing, and I'm going to add some more grain just to make it, this is kind of the artsy grain. We'll go final output. We'll just pick one of these at random, Kodak Vision 320T. Sure, why not? Oh, and there's one thing I forgot. Let's go back into camera. This is almost done, this shot. I mean, there's lots of other stuff you can do as well. We're going to go into the camera, and we're going to the camera options, and remember when we added the depth of field, I actually totally forgot this step. We're going to go to the very first frame, the keyframe here, right on the timeline. Click on this. I'm going to shut off this grain that I added just so I could, and the light, just so I can quickly work this. And let's give this like some real, like lots of aperture. So instead of 25.3 pixels of aperture, I'm gonna really blur this just to show the effect. It's probably too much, and then blur level, I'm gonna add a little bit to that too. So now, as you can see, I'm pretty blurry. So when you go to focus distance, I'm going to just find the focus. I'm going to turn this back. Again, this is just, got to find your spot. Find it where the most sharp. Or what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to start sharp on the background, and then I come into focus eventually. So I'm actually going to go the other way. Whoop, wrong way. Something like that. I'm actually going to make the blur level even more. And then do something like that. And then later on, as the camera pulls back, I'm going to put a keyframe here. Click this little keyframe. And then I'm going to focus on me here. Something like that. And then by the end, should still be on me. So I'll make another keyframe at the end here. Get me nice and sharp. And there. I'm making one in here in the middle here because it kind of dips out of focus. Again, just check. Maybe make another one here because it looks like a little slightly out of focus there. There. And I think adding all this light and grain back to this, I just soloed those. There's a shot. I really hope this was of help. I hope I didn't go too quick on some things. Check out some of the other tutorials I have created or we've created. Happy Halloween!